Welcome to Daily Meditation with Sangha Live.
Welcome into the last of these 5 sessions that I'm going to be leading for Sangha Live, and very warm welcome into the space here together. Having that opportunity to settle into your own body, heart, mind in the mornings or whatever time it is for you, and also that sense of settling into community, into a space where we can cultivate what's most meaningful for us. And as way of a reminder and also kind of an ongoing exploration, when we speak about settling into cultivating what's most meaningful for us, it does mean asking ourselves, actually, what is most meaningful for me? And that's why we started this week tuning into intentions. Do you remember, if you were there, what was your intention for practice in that moment, and maybe carrying across for the whole week? And if you weren't there, you weren't able to access the memory of being there, then what would you wish to see more of? What would you wish to plant the seeds of or for? Nourish, develop, sustain, what quality? And in this moment of recalling it, maybe we can feel into it, tune into it. And that can be what we call meditation. Choosing a flavor, a quality to bring into being, a wise, appropriate intention. What starts this journey, what forms this journey, and is always a part of shaping it when we remember to. And something we've been doing this week, and I hope that we can continue to do through our life, is prioritizing what you prioritize. And one way of practicing it that we've been doing here is actually giving more priority to how we attend than what we attend. Yeah, and if that doesn't make sense, these recordings are all going to be here. You can go back, listen in, and see what we've been exploring there. So yeah, this is our last morning together exploring this, and thank you for your support and presence in being here and all the ways that you support Sangha Live. We will be opening to a few more ideas today. Particularly, there was a really key comment midway through the week, which was, I can't see how this relates to climate change and the situation of the world. And I expressed at that time, something that I wish to teach. One of the things that I feel I offer in the Dharma world is actually a way of practicing, a way of conceiving, and that really works effectively internally, but it also works effectively interrelationally, and it can also encourage us to engage with some of the bigger issues of our lives and our times. I'm not unique in that, but that's certainly something that I aim to speak to and offer a framing for these wonderful wisdom teachings, and a suggestion for ways of practice that work effectively. And that's basically because that's what I'm interested in. I'm interested in the ways that we already change the world and the ways that we can change it effectively. As I've mentioned, I really love the reflections and questions and things that you bring through the chat, the question box there. If you have anything that feels you want to put it in there, it's already open. It can receive from you, and then we will have time today for any more kind of further questions and reflections. And I'm also always happy to receive those in other ways. You can go over to my website, dependentorigination.org, and shoot me a message through the contact form, and that will get to me all the time. But also still got time today for anything there. There are actually quite a few interesting comments from yesterday's session as well. There was this sense, the last couple of days we've been opening contraction. One hand, we did that untying the attention, knots of attention, like untying a hot air balloon that can then expand. The whole awareness expands in kind of an effortless way. And then we also did this kind of pushing out, opening contraction, much more activating, energizing kind of way of practicing there. And a few comments came. So there's a sense of opening a contraction we didn't realize was there. And that's a very, very interesting point about these practices. Yeah. The correlates, what arises when something else is there, yes, is contraction. And so we could wait, there's some suffering, I'll release some contraction. We can actually go straight to the contraction and start opening that. And then we say, I actually realized I'm releasing something that I didn't realize was there. I think that's really, really interesting, really, really significant. So that can be something that we do, is that, I'm just going to open the contraction. And that will ease already, even unseen, unknown dukkha. That points to something radical about this path, which is what we normally call suffering. If we translate dukkha as suffering, that's quite a limited level, that we can actually release things that we're not consciously suffering from. There's just a kind of an existential dis-ease, perhaps, and it's like, open the contraction. So, that eased. Amazing. Okay. Another thing that I find really heartwarming to hear was there was this sense of there's permission to explore more postures. And yes, meditation is not restricted to any one posture. We actually did a week on that. I don't remember how many weeks ago, only 3 or 4 weeks ago, I think. Stillness dancing. You can kind of check out that. There's a lot to do with that, opening up that conception of like, eye posture has to be kind of still and it has to look this way. But actually meditation is a cultivation of our intentions through all of our life, all of our activity. In addition to exploring more postures, I encourage you also to explore practicing at different times of the day. If we only practice in the morning, why is that? It can sound like, well, if I have to do this more times a day, that's more, jobs I have to do. It's more chores I have to do. But actually, isn't it more delights? We don't meditate because, we hate ourselves and we need to be punished. I don't think so. I mean, I do it because I love to cultivate the beautiful ways of being. And we do it because we know we can be more happy. Reducing suffering is increasing happiness. We live a more meaningful life. We can live for the well-being of all beings from that place. And, this means we might actually enjoy meditation in all activities. And then again, it might say, oh God, I have to meditate there as well. But why not? Why wouldn't we meditate, walking to work or the shops or to somewhere? Why wouldn't we meditate and pick up litter? It's the same approach. It's the same approach we mentioned yesterday. We're not rushing in and we're not holding back. There's a spaciousness and that intimacy we connect. There was more. There's more in all of this. I think really fascinating how these comments come back and they feed back in. They reinforce, and there's so many insights in all of this. We're uncovering things we didn't realize. Another mentioned, having that task, keeping the awareness stretched out, actually kept them much more engaged in their practice. And that sense is, there's nothing you can do. It's actually, there is something we can do. That kind of confirmation bias that comes through is that there's nothing you can do, and then I do nothing, and it seems actually it's true, there is nothing you can do. It's kind of, whereas there's a path, a way of understanding the path relates to the fifth hindrance, the lack of confidence in our capacity to change things, which is the path is the growth of that confidence to change. There's always something we can change somewhat, and that builds that confidence. And from that confidence, maybe exactly, we can start to practice in more postures, practice in more times, practice in more situations. Whenever there seems to be no way in, that's just how it seems. That perhaps we can take the view there's always a way in. There's always the slightest change we can make. And what I would say with that, do the easiest way, right? It all interconnects. So do the easiest way for you. And for many of us, if we can contact the body, we can soften the contraction in the physiological level, the muscular level, ease that. We can notice if we're leaning in, rushing ahead, or if we're holding back. It's like, okay, I can show up. I'm actually already here. And maybe I can soften what can soften, open to what I can open to. And not forgetting all of those little tools and things that we can have is like actually open the awareness more so that the intimacy has the space it needs. Yeah. And slowly, I think over time, we can bring these attitudes, like what I call caring resolve. It's that sublime quality, something called Brahma Vihara, a home of the gods in our own body, heart, mind. We make our own awareness a home of godliness, divinity. Yeah, that's what's suggested by these teachings. We're taking everyday care to sublime heights and profound width in all directions. Yeah, the greatest elevated relational qualities, and for the widest, greatest spread of all beings. When we typically talk about, the divine abodes, the illimitable heart qualities, we often practice this towards beings, which is a really important way to practice it. And we might feel that's actually the more important way for us to practice this in this time in our lives. But I think it's important to know, relating it right back to those intentions, it's an atmosphere of our attention. It's how we are relating. And the atmosphere of our attention is always a present feature of every experience. There's what we're paying attention to, and there's how we're paying attention to it. Yeah. And that's why over the week I've wanted us to prioritize the quality rather than the quantity of our moments of attention. That when we bring attention in, if it's landing on the so-called meditative object of breath or sounds, or if it's coming into being and landing on a distracted thought, a memory, a ache or pain in the body, it's like same thing. Let's meet this with something in that vibrancy of caring resolve. Whatever your particular intention is, I suspect it will be supportive of the care and the easing out of suffering or dis-ease, moment to moment. Whether that's bringing appreciative joy to what's pleasant, what seems pleasant, what seems enjoyable, bringing our appreciation and joy, or bringing that caring resolve to the painful. It feels held, allowed, eased. Or things that aren't particularly pleasant, things that aren't particularly painful, like all the rest, like the smell of the air. We don't tend to even notice it. Bring that in, that radiant non-reactivity. You can be here. You can be released. So we'll take a bit of time practicing today, and what I want to do is settling us into a sense, maybe everything in our experience, to some degree, we can find some skill to be close enough to all things, that spaciousness, that intimacy. And then maybe from that place of more well-being, it would make sense to start radiating that out. That our practice itself is for the well-being of all beings. Not excluding ourselves and not overly focused on ourselves. And see what that does. That sense of connection, that sense of well-being, that sense of transcendence that includes, a transcendence that includes. I want to remember that. Okay, so let's have some practice together. So once again, finding that posture, what's going to be right for transcending and including all of our experience, all of the experience of all beings at this time. And settling yourself in to that shape. Before we go too far, recalling what's my intention here. It might be as simple and broad as to meet all experience well, but it might have a particular flavor. There's something in particular, patience. Oh, I really want to practice patience. Or appreciation. I really want to appreciate what's beautiful. So there might be a particularity. It's welcome. So in this moment, can we check in, so to say? Can we become familiar? Before you take off on your meditation flight, you should check in. How are we doing today? How's the body? How's the heart? Heart area. The way the heart feels. And although it already changes it to meet it with some of that intention, it's okay. We're just allowing that intention to already be present. Doing its work, so to speak, as well. And how's the mind doing? Is it racy? Is it dull? Is it already off in old plans or journeying into the future? And with a sense of the intellectual activity of thinking, planning, ruminating, what happens when we really relax into the back of the body while that's happening? We really allow for that out breath, soften and ground. And we allow for a sense of that space opening out, stretching out, and the in-breath filling, enlivening. It's just good at the beginning just to remind ourselves, these things are interconnected, they interplay. So you can carry on with that as an exploration. That can be something that keeps us more interested, engaged with breathing, or we might prefer listening to sounds in different ways. I'm going to take a bit of time just settling in. I'm going to let you find your way. Something I would suggest, can we allow experience to be quite subtle when we can? Subtle without losing touch. How delicate can the effort of attention be? And if you need a bit of extra support, remember you can use those spaciousness qualities, untying into spaciousness or stretching out into a bit more space. And then within that, receptivity. Don't go out to grab the breath, letting it arrive to you, like you're receiving it, or the sounds. Don't go out chasing sound, letting them be received, seeing how subtle without losing touch you can be. And because we can get lost here, it's good again, if you like, 3 breaths at a time. Well, how is it going in this exploration of the subtle without losing touch? With honesty and humility, knowing this happens for all of us. Attention, but also body, heart, the mind can get too tight at times, too much of a squeeze. But equally, it can be too loose. And so that honesty and that humility, not me, I didn't do it. You don't need to make it a self story there. And also the humility is that, okay, there is this happening this way. And there is something I can do about it. So a sense of holding the attention in a way that it can hold the breath without gripping. Hold the sounds, welcome, careful, allow and release. Sometimes use this image of a light, downy feather in the palm of the hand. You can feel it, but only when you really tune into it. Almost weightless, but not quite. We wouldn't hold it in the palm with a gripped fist. That would crush. And we couldn't feel it. But we also don't allow the hand to drop away and it to slide off. Practice in this relatively still quietude, spaciousness with intimacy. Holding tenderly. Spacious intimacy with what's appearing and disappearing. Just checking if it feels you might be a little too tight. That causes the mind sometimes to slip away, or too loose, which allows the attention to kind of drift away. And it's not something to set and fix, it's actually more a sense like a dance. As long as the music of life is playing, we don't stop our movement with it. When it's a bit too dull, tune in a bit more. When we're a bit too intense, we fade back a little bit. It can almost be something in terms of leaning forwards, leaning backwards, but I would suggest making movement adjustments that you imagine someone next to you couldn't tell that you've done. It's almost a sense of the being within the body moving, more than the body moving the being, if that makes any sense. Just invite you to notice, is there anything that feels okay in experience? Can we start to notice anywhere that feels okay? If you're in the body realm, sometimes we can notice actually the palms of the hands feel okay. Maybe they even feel kind of pleasant. Maybe the insides of the elbows. Feel delicate, sensitive areas of the body, the earlobes, the smile on the face. Any of those things can feel quite delightful. In the sound sphere, if we're practicing there, and you don't need to switch, stay with the sense store you're practicing with. Maybe it's the sound of some birds or something else. And if nowhere in this sense realm, sense object is okay or pleasant, how about just being able to hear, to listen to breaths and feel body sensations, just that. Holding that in attention and allowing the intention to be imbued with a sense of appreciation. It's a subtle practice. Be aware, body, heart, mind will drift away, maybe look for problems, but seeing how we can do that. So carrying on with this, just a note if that feels too spacious and we're losing touch, allow the breath to be involved. Maybe the breath can carry the appreciation into this area. Just a few more moments, tuning into what's okay. Sense of appreciation. It's probably clear, but we're not paying attention to what's okay or the delights of being a sensitive being because we don't want to come close to what's painful. We can also come close to what's painful. Take the next few minutes finding somewhere in the body or in the experience we can open to, but we can also open to what we appreciate, and you can carry on there if that feels right. That feels right, like the right way of practicing. These things are often overlooked, and it's good to include them more. If we wish, we can tune into somewhere that feels painful or unpleasant in the sounds, and we just open around that. It should be a skill we're starting to get more familiar with what that might mean. But one way we can do it is start to feel the boundaries of where it's painful or unpleasant, where the sense of it is, maybe it's no longer it, but it's out where it's no longer so hard to be with. Go as large as you need to go. And then from there, with or without the breath, radiating a sense of caring resolve, easing through a sense of allowing this to be here. It's already in consciousness, but it's not been allowed to be in consciousness. You're allowed to be here. You will be cared for and eased. The sense is just playing at that level where it's just mildly unpleasant but tolerable. And if that shrinks and we start coming closer to the heart of it, we come closer, but we don't rush our way in. We're dissolving reactivity, not chasing away pain. Noticing what a difference that can make, that we can tune into what's seemingly painful and unpleasant and find the space around it. Find our capacity to bring caring resolve to it. And for the next minute or so, let's open a sense through the whole of our sensitivity, opening, feeling fully in our illimitable hearts, knowing we have more capacity to be with what's beautiful, to be with what seems painful, and to be with the sensitivity itself. And all that appears within it. Welcoming, allowing, releasing. Without disconnection. Opening, feeling fully in our illimitable hearts. Can't find a boundary to the spaciousness they can experience. And the sense in the last minute of this practice being for more than ourselves. Dedicating this practice to the well-being of all beings. May all beings who suffer right now find ease, be held in caring resolve. May you hold your own experience in caring resolve. May all those finding wholesome happiness in the beauty of their lives sustain and spread it with appreciative joy. May all beings be met with a kindness that does not discriminate, an inclusive goodwill. Radiant non-reactivity deep within and all around. Remembering what we've mentioned before, in meditation we don't come all the way out. So let's keep this going, keep this growing. You can stay practicing if you wish. We're beginning to feel within this atmosphere, that movement of the body if we were still, opening the eyes if they were closed. Just as we're still breathing and still listening, we can still be cultivating.
Today's podcast is an offering to you from our archive of freely available live daily classes. We make wisdom teachings and meditations as freely available as possible to as many people as wish to practice. You can help ensure we can continue to support a worldwide Sangha by leaving a review wherever you get your podcasts, by sharing this with someone who'd be interested, and by offering a small financial support at sangha.live/donate.